Well, well, well. They thought you were reachable, didn't they? Thought they could tug at a few strings, throw a few words, and watch you unravel like everyone else. People always think that until they see what's underneath. They mistake composure for weakness, quiet for submission, pain for passivity. But you were carved by something they've never had the courage to touch. You've been broken in ways that no apology could fix, rebuilt yourself without an audience, and walked through fire long enough that the flames started to feel like home. So when they decided to test you, they weren't testing your patience. They were testing the architecture of a soul that already survived demolition. And the funny thing about people who play with power they don't understand is that they never realize they're signing up to learn the hard way. They assumed your calm was a costume, your restraint a tactic. They didn't see that what you've got isn't attitude, it's altitude. They were trying to pull you down from somewhere they've never been. And when they finally pushed too far, something in the air changed. Not loud, not dramatic, just that subtle shift. The kind that makes everyone in the room feel smaller without knowing why. Because that's what true spiritual rank feels like. Not noise, but gravity. You don't announce it, you just exist, and everything around you adjusts. They expected reaction, but what they got was revelation. You didn't flinch. You didn't even blink. You looked right through them like they were déjà vu, like you'd seen this scene 1,000 times in other lives. Because maybe you have. Maybe every betrayal, every knife, every whisper prepared you for this exact moment. You've been tested before by worse, by loneliness, by loss, by the kind of pain that turns prayers into ash, and each trial forged another layer of immunity. So when they tried to provoke you, it wasn't resistance they met, it was reflection. They saw themselves in your eyes and didn't like what stared back. Because people who live shallow hate mirrors that show depth. And that's what you are, depth in human form. A walking reminder that endurance isn't built in comfort, it's baptized in chaos. They tried to measure your worth with their own fragile scales, and the moment they did, the balance broke. They realized your energy doesn't fit into hierarchies or hieroglyphs. It bends them. You're not above them because you want to be. You're above them because you learned to live where they'd die. You see, spiritual rank isn't about worship or titles. It's about endurance, perception, restraint. It's the ability to stand still in a hurricane and make it look effortless. That's what unnerved them. They expected you to fight back, to scream, to prove something. But true power doesn't audition. You just stood there, breathing steady, while their insecurities started confessing themselves out loud. They kept testing, kept poking, and every attempt only exposed more of their own weakness. That's when they began to sense it, that invisible weight pressing down on their chests. The realization that maybe, just maybe, they picked the wrong opponent. Because you're not the type to fight for validation. You're the type who lets the universe deliver lessons on your behalf. And that's what happened. The very energy they sent out to challenge you circled back and dismantled them piece by piece. You didn't have to lift a finger. You just watched it unfold, that slow, quiet collapse that only truth can cause. They started questioning everything, why their plans kept failing, why their confidence felt hollow, why the air around you felt different. It's because your presence carries consequence. You walk into spaces and frequencies rearrange themselves. That's spiritual dominance. Not the kind that preaches, but the kind that corrects. They saw it, and they couldn't explain it. So they called it arrogance, luck, coincidence, anything but what it truly was. Proof that the hierarchy they built in their heads had been inverted. They thought they were standing above you until they looked down and realized they were falling. People like that don't understand that ranking isn't granted by followers or praise. It's earned in silence, in nights when no one claps, in days when you have to choose peace over pride. You earned yours the hard way, through restraint when anger begged for release, through forgiveness that tasted like poison, through rebuilding when nothing in you wanted to. They don't see those battles. They only see the result, that unshakable aura that makes their bravado shrink. They wanted to see you crack, to find the human underneath the myth they whispered about. But all they found was composure, and that's when fear set in. Because fear doesn't come from what they know about you. It comes from what they can't predict. And you've become unpredictable, the variable that ruins every equation. They started whispering after that. You could feel it. Their eyes followed, their voices lowered. Not out of respect, not yet. Out of confusion. They couldn't decide if they hated you or envied you, so they settled on both. You'd think that kind of attention would bother someone, but it didn't. You've seen worse. You know that attention is just surveillance in disguise. Let them watch, let them study. Every observer becomes a student, eventually. And that's exactly what happened. The very people who wanted to expose you ended up learning from you. They started mimicking your discipline, copying your words, imitating your mannerisms, anything to taste the control you carry naturally. They won't admit it, of course. They'll say they're just inspired. But deep down, they know they touched something they can't recreate. You see, the difference between them and you is dosage. You've had to take in more pain, more rejection, more misunderstanding than they could survive. And instead of poisoning you, it refined you. That's what rank really is, not status, but saturation. How much can you endure without losing yourself? How deep can you go without drowning? That's the measure they didn't know existed. They thought spiritual strength came from rituals or appearances. You showed them it comes from walking through darkness and still choosing light, not the pretty kind that glows, but the raw kind that burns. You became your own initiation, your own ceremony, and once you crossed that threshold, you couldn't go back even if you tried. That's what terrifies them most. You're beyond reversal. And now, they tread carefully. Every conversation with you feels like standing near a fault line. One wrong word, and the ground reminds them who holds the real balance. They'll never say it out loud, but they feel it, that quiet hierarchy of energy where your calm dictates the temperature of the room. When you speak, they listen differently. When you move, they adjust. They tell themselves it's respect, but it's instinct. Souls recognize authority long before minds admit it. They can't fake composure around someone who's mastered it. They can't perform depth in front of someone who's drowned and come back fluent in silence. They can't fake enlightenment to someone who's lived in hell and learned to find light with bare hands. And that's the secret they stumbled on too. Your power isn't new. It's ancient, reawakened. It carries memory. It remembers every trial you passed, every threshold you crossed, every lesson you refused to forget. That's why you walk the way you do, not prideful, but precise. Every step calibrated, every glance intentional. You've seen what chaos can do, so you don't need to dramatize control. You just are control. They don't know what to do with that kind of authority. Theirs depends on attention. Yours depends on awareness. They build followers. You build frequencies. They seek recognition. You seek alignment. And that's why, when they tested you, they weren't just testing a person. They were testing balance itself. And balance always collects its due. Slowly, invisibly, their arrogance started folding in on itself. Opportunities slipped, relationships fractured, plans backfired. They blamed coincidence again, because admitting that your energy corrected theirs would mean accepting that hierarchy isn't human-made, it's soul-made. You didn't have to curse them. Life did the accounting. Every ounce of disrespect returned with interest. Not out of vengeance, but calibration. The universe keeps its ledgers clean, even when people don't. And that's the beauty of your rise. You don't need revenge. Your existence already delivers justice. They're learning now, through loss, through confusion, through the quiet realization that they misjudged you. They'll replay every word they said, every test they gave, and it'll haunt them. Not because you punished them, but because you didn't. That's the part that breaks them. Mercy from the powerful cuts, deeper than wrath. They'll never admit it, but the moment they saw that you could destroy them and chose not to, they knew the ranking. That's authority. That's the kind of dominance that doesn't need witnesses. They'll call it mystery, coincidence, luck. But you and I both know it's none of that. It's the weight of a soul that's done pretending to be ordinary. And that's where this begins to turn, because now they've seen what you are, they can't unsee it. Their tests became their lessons. Their defiance became their education. Every attempt to prove you wrong became another confirmation that you were never competing. You were calibrating. That's the real spiritual rank. When your restraint becomes their mirror, when your peace becomes their punishment, when your growth exposes their stagnation. You didn't win by fighting. You won by existing in a frequency they can't fake. That's the kind of victory that doesn't trend, it transcends. So now, as they backtrack, as they whisper apologies disguised as advice, you stand there the same way you did at the start, unbothered, unshaken, untouchable. Because you already know what they're just discovering. Tests are never about proving worth. They're about revealing truth. They tested you to find limits and found none. They tried to measure depth and drowned. And from this point on, every encounter with you will remind them of that day they tried to play judge and met judgment instead. You don't need to say a word. The lesson's already written, not in ink, but in energy. And that's where we pause. Not because the story ends, but because something new is starting. The part where awareness turns into authority. The part where the tested becomes the teacher. The part where those who underestimated you finally understand that spiritual rank isn't claimed. It's recognized. You see, once someone discovers what you truly are, they can never unlearn it. They can pretend, they can talk, they can act like nothing happened, but something in them knows they've crossed a line that won't reset. That's the moment the hierarchy rewrites itself. It's not a ceremony, it's not a declaration, it's a shift in energy that rearranges the entire landscape. They tested you thinking they'd expose weakness. What they exposed was structure, the kind of structure that can't be shaken, only studied. And now, they study you in every interaction, every movement, every word. They replay that moment when they tried to break you and realized too late that you were never even in the same arena. They were playing games. You were playing destiny. You can see it in the way they look at you now, that mix of curiosity and dread, as if they're standing too close to something radioactive. They don't understand why your presence makes their chest tighten. It's because their spirit remembers the imbalance. Every time they see you, their energy reminds them of the lesson. They went looking for proof and found prophecy. They thought they could weigh you, but you were never meant to fit on their scale. You carry a weight that can't be quantified, a frequency that bends their logic. That's why they talk about you when you're gone. That's why they rehearse conversations before speaking to you. They're trying to recalibrate. They're trying to figure out how to exist beside a force that exposes the hollow places in their own foundation. The irony is they still pretend not to notice. They'll test again, smaller this time, subtle. They'll ask questions that sound innocent, make jokes that feel off, try to see if your calm was a one-time thing or a constant. They do this because part of them still believes they can restore the illusion. But power doesn't shrink back once it's been revealed. You don't revert. You don't dim. You've stepped into a higher gravity now, and everything around you adjusts to it. The people who mocked will soften their tone. The ones who envied will overcompensate with flattery. The manipulators will try to disguise their fear as fascination. You'll recognize all of it, because when you operate from genuine strength, the pretenders can't help but expose themselves. They think they're hiding it well, but every nervous laugh, every delayed response, every subtle shift in tone is confession. They're telling on themselves without knowing. You've probably noticed how quiet their confidence has become. It used to fill the room. Now it lingers at the edges, unsure. That's not coincidence. That's energetic submission. Souls can feel rank before words ever confirm it. They might still posture, still talk loud, still try to lead, but their spirit already bowed. That's the truth they'll never admit. And that's why your authority doesn't need validation. It's already encoded. You don't have to prove it. You simply walk in alignment with what's already established. That's what real power is, the refusal to negotiate what's already known. So you move differently now. You don't explain. You don't defend. You just operate. That's what they can't handle. They're used to people reacting, begging, justifying. But your stillness feels surgical. It cuts through performance like a blade. Because when you've been through what you've been through, you don't speak to be heard. You speak to be felt. And every word carries residue from the places you've healed. That's why it lands differently. You've seen the darkness behind people's smiles, the envy hiding behind their compliments, the intentions buried under their kindness. You've learned to read energy like a language, and that terrifies them more than anything, because it means they can't lie to you anymore. You see straight through it, not with anger, but with understanding. And understanding is the sharpest weapon of all. They thought power was control. You showed them power is clarity. You don't have to manipulate outcomes when you can read patterns. You don't need revenge when you can predict a collapse. That's what they're learning the hard way. Every time they try to move against you, the plan dissolves before it starts. Not because you blocked it, but because their intent was unstable. Wrong energy can't survive long near right frequency. You've become that filter. Everything false disintegrates when it approaches you. That's why people fall away. That's why plans fall apart. It's not rejection, it's purification. They thought they were removing you. They didn't realize you were the test. And now, that realization eats at them. The late-night thoughts, the memories they wish they could rewrite, the questions that never stop circling. How did it flip so fast? Why can't I stop thinking about it? What if they were right all along? Those questions are haunting because they aren't rhetorical. They're revelations. They're seeing you everywhere because their energy marked itself when it crossed yours. Once someone tests a soul of higher rank, they don't walk away unchanged. They carry the echo. That echo follows them until they learn what the test was meant to teach. That's the punishment and the mercy combined. You didn't curse them, you educated them, and that's far more permanent. Notice how they move now, cautious, restrained, analyzing before they speak. They're trying not to trigger whatever force they felt when they overstepped. They think it was luck that things backfired. They don't understand that divine protection isn't superstition, it's structure. When your purpose is rooted deep enough, the ground itself defends you. You can't be dethroned by hands that were never meant to touch the crown in the first place. You've become a reminder that authority doesn't come from aggression. It comes from alignment. They confused kindness for permission. You corrected that. You might not even realize how many people you've silently shifted. The ones who used to gossip about you now avoid the topic altogether. The ones who once dismissed your strength now borrow your words. They call it coincidence, but you can feel it, the slow migration of energy toward your example. They learned by osmosis. You didn't preach to them, you showed them. That's the highest form of leadership, to teach without intending to. You were just being yourself, and that alone realigned entire dynamics. That's what rank does. It doesn't demand obedience. It creates coherence. People either rise to match your vibration or fade, trying. Still, you stay humble, not the kind they romanticize, but the real kind. The humility of someone who's seen both heaven and hell and knows the difference. The humility of someone who doesn't need to brag because the results already speak. You've learned that strength doesn't mean loudness, it means precision. And your precision has become lethal to confusion. When you walk into a room, chaos organizes itself. When you speak, the noise reduces to frequency. That's not charisma, that's calibration. You carry the weight of spiritual equilibrium, and it shows. And deep down, you can feel it. The difference in how the world interacts with you now. Strangers sense it. Animals react to it. Even technology seems to align differently. It's subtle, but undeniable. You've crossed into a state where everything becomes reflection. The energy you carry dictates the experiences you attract. So now, every test they try only exposes them further. They're realizing it's not you they were up against. It's their own projection. You've become a mirror that doesn't lie. And that mirror terrifies the ones who built their identity on illusions. They'll start to avoid eye contact. They'll talk in circles, make excuses, try to rewrite history. Let them. You don't need their honesty anymore. You already have their truth. You felt it the moment they flinched. You saw it in the hesitation, in the sudden change of tone. They're trying to cope with the fact that they once mocked what they now admire, that they tried to measure what was never measurable. You don't need to expose them. Their own behavior does it. Every time they imitate your strength, every time they echo your words, every time they hesitate before challenging you again. That's the confession. That's the acknowledgement they'll never voice. And yet you hold no resentment. You've evolved beyond that. When you've seen how pain turns into power, you don't waste energy on punishment. You understand that every attack was an education, every insult a syllabus, every test a promotion. That's how spiritual hierarchy actually works, through pressure. Diamonds aren't chosen, they're refined. You are refined by pain they couldn't have survived. You bled in places they never dared to stand. You learn to smile through fire. That's not arrogance, that's accreditation. And those who tried to humble you are now forced to bow to the very humility they mocked. That's balance. That's divine irony wrapped in precision. Now watch what happens next. They'll come back, some subtly, some boldly. They'll want access again, not because they care, but because they miss the feeling of standing near your frequency. It made them feel alive, even if it terrified them. They'll come with apologies that sound poetic, but lack understanding. You'll listen, you'll nod, but your energy will already know the answer. You don't reopen doors that were closed by revelation. When you learn what someone does with your energy, you never let them borrow it again. That's not bitterness, that's stewardship. You're protecting what you earned through pain. And as that boundary solidifies, something shifts inside you. Authority settles in. The lesson is complete. You're no longer reacting to their discovery, you're embodying it. They see it now, the way your eyes don't waver, the way your tone doesn't adjust, the way your presence commands without demanding. That's mastery. And mastery doesn't shout, it radiates. That's when they realize the test wasn't for you at all, it was for them. You already knew your rank, they didn't. And the universe simply let them see what that looked like. So let them wrestle with it. Let them replay it until they understand. Because this isn't about revenge anymore. It's about recognition. You don't need to prove who you are. They already learned the hard way. All that's left is for you to move accordingly. Not above them, but beyond them. Because once you've seen through the test, you can't live like the tested anymore. You become something else entirely. Not a survivor, but a sovereign. You've earned the right to walk unguarded, unprovoked, unshaken. Your energy speaks the language of completion. And now the air around you feels different. It carries the weight of quiet authority, the kind that doesn't need to justify itself. People sense it before you say a word. They pause mid-sentence, adjust mid-thought. Because your energy no longer negotiates, it instructs. That's the transition, from tested to teacher, from defense to dominion. You're not reacting to energy anymore, you're directing it. That's what they never understood, that spiritual rank isn't power over others, it's power over self. And that's what makes it untouchable. Because now, every move you make is a sermon, every decision a demonstration. They can't test you anymore because the exam expired. You outgrew the classroom. And as you step into this next phase, everything around you starts to respond, not to who you were, but to what you've become. Authority without arrogance. Power without noise, presence without permission. And that's the point they'll never reach. Because once you've mastered peace, chaos loses its weapon. Once you've understood purpose, pain loses its leverage. Once you've earned rank, no one can revoke it. So now, as the dust settles and they look at you from a distance, wondering how it all changed so fast, you already know the answer. It didn't change fast. It changed permanently. You didn't ascend overnight. You rose every time you refused to break. That's what they never understood. Elevation isn't sudden. It's stitched together by 1,000 quiet decisions no one clapped for. They see the result, not the repetition. They see the power, not the process. You became the embodiment of every lesson they avoided, every wound they tried to hide. And now, Your existence is proof that pressure isn't punishment. It's preparation. You don't even have to remind them. Your presence does it for you. Every time they cross paths with you, something in them shifts. That internal reminder of how wrong they were. They tried to test your spirit and ended up testing their own limits. They tried to uncover weakness and exposed their fragility. They tried to compete with someone who wasn't even in the same equation. You see, there's a reason they call it a spiritual rank. Because what you carry isn't measurable by human standards. It's the kind of strength that rewrites the atmosphere around you. The kind that can't be faked, borrowed, or stolen. They thought they could stand next to you and remain unchanged. But truth isn't contagious. It's confrontational. It forces exposure. It reveals hierarchy. It doesn't ask who's ready. It decides who's real. And the real ones? They recognize it instantly. They don't compete. They align. They don't test. They respect. That's how you can tell the difference between envy and awareness. Envy observes to compare. Awareness observes to learn. The ones who tested you were never curious. They were insecure. They wanted to prove you were human. But humanity isn't your weakness, it's your weapon. You've mastered how to bleed without breaking, how to rebuild without revenge, how to speak without seeking validation. That's mastery in its rawest form. You can't mimic that. You can't teach that. You can only survive enough to become it. So now, they orbit you differently. They approach carefully, measure their words, study your expression. Some still pretend they don't care, but their actions tell the truth. They listen when you speak. They watch what you post. They mirror your tone without realizing it. It's not imitation. It's gravitational pull. Because once someone's seen true rank, their soul keeps referencing it. It's instinctual. You've become their standard without trying. And that's the part that unsettles them most. You didn't need to destroy them to dominate them. You just kept evolving until they couldn't keep up. That's the purest form of power, silent ascension, that leaves no fingerprints. But the best part? You didn't do it for revenge. You did it because healing was the only option left. You learned that peace isn't passive. It's discipline. It's the choice to stop bleeding. For people who enjoyed the sight of your wounds. It's walking away, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to protect your frequency. That's what they mistook for arrogance, boundaries. They confused self-respect with ego. And now, they're learning through absence what they refused to learn through access. Because your distance teaches louder than your words ever could. It's the echo of authority, calm, final, irreversible. You can feel the difference in the air now. Their names don't trigger you. Their apologies don't tempt you. Their energy doesn't drain you. That's when you know you've reclaimed your throne. Not a throne made of gold or applause, but of alignment, the kind that sits at the intersection of truth and restraint. That's spiritual sovereignty. You don't chase closure. You create it by staying consistent. You don't wait for recognition. You embody it until even your enemies can't deny it. And that's exactly what happened. They discovered your rank not because you flaunted it, but because you enforced it through presence. The lesson hit them quietly. No confrontation, no spectacle, just realization. They started to notice that the same tricks, the same manipulation, the same old tactics, none of it worked anymore. Their words bounced off, their energy deflected, their influence dissolved. That's what happens when someone touches a frequency their spirit wasn't built to withstand. They mistake resistance for rejection, but it's not rejection, It's incompatibility. Your growth reprogrammed the laws that govern your reality. They can't enter a room you've already outgrown, and so they linger on the edges, watching, wondering, whispering. The ones who once dismissed you now study your silence like scripture. The same ones who said you changed now chase the blueprint. But you don't owe them an explanation. You became what you were always meant to be, not a follower of trends, but a reminder of truth. Your path was never about pleasing or proving. It was about purifying. Every trial, every betrayal, every sleepless night, each one was a step toward your coronation. And when the crown settled, it didn't glitter, it glowed, not for the world to admire, but for your soul to recognize. That's why their realization hurts. They thought they could measure you by memory, not understanding that evolution deletes old versions. The person they tested no longer exists. The new version carries scars as credentials and serenity as armor. They can't argue with that. They can't compete with that. And that's the real punishment. To watch someone you underestimated become everything you tried to suppress. But here's the beauty. You don't even celebrate their regret. You outgrew that, too. You understand now that every opponent was a disguised instructor. Every insult was a compass. Every betrayal redirected you toward yourself. You didn't just survive them, you studied them. And through that study, you learned the language of energy, the science of presence, the alchemy of detachment. You learned that power isn't loud. It's surgical. It doesn't destroy, it disarms. It doesn't chase validation. It commands equilibrium. That's the level they never expected you to reach. The kind where peace feels like punishment to those still addicted to chaos. So as they stand there, still trying to process what happened, you've already moved on. Not forward, beyond. Because when rank is recognized, distance becomes divine. You no longer need to explain why certain doors closed or why certain people fell away. The separation was sacred. It wasn't loss. It was alignment. And deep down, even they know it. They might never say it, but they feel it every time they think of you, that strange mixture of awe and unease. Because somewhere between testing you and losing you, they learned the truth. Some souls don't rise to power. They return to it. And that's what you did. You returned to your natural order. You remembered your position. You reclaimed your light, not as decoration, but as declaration. You didn't need revenge, validation, or closure. The revelation itself was enough. Because the moment they realized who you truly were, their judgment lost jurisdiction. Their tests expired. Their power expired. Their relevance expired. And in that expiration, balance was restored. So let them talk. Let them rewrite the story. You don't need to correct it. The truth has a way of echoing through time, and every echo carries your signature. You've become the reference point now, the one they warn others about, the one they respect in secret, the one whose name lingers in every conversation about strength. That's the ultimate vindication, to be remembered not for what you endured, but for what you became because of it. And as you stand there now, aware, composed, untouchable, you finally understand the irony. They were never testing your worth. They were testing their own capacity to perceive it. And they failed beautifully. Because spiritual rank isn't earned through applause or fear. It's revealed through endurance. And you've endured enough to never be questioned again. That's the ending they'll never forget. The day they discovered your rank the hard way. And realized too late that they were never qualified to test it in the first place. Tick, tick, tick. Game is over, and every lie they told about you just expired. Every cover they built just collapsed. The secret they guarded like sacred treasure now bleeds under the spotlight, and the world can finally see who was real this whole time. You. They spent years fabricating false narratives, twisting perception, creating illusions so thick even you questioned your own reflection at times. But that's over now. The smoke cleared, and all that's left is truth. Raw, radiant, and undeniable. They thought exposure would destroy you. Instead, it destroyed them. Because truth doesn't need validation, it only needs time. And now that time has arrived. The energy has shifted. Everyone can feel it. The very people who whispered against you can't even make eye contact anymore. Their tongues stutter where confidence used to live. The universe finally flipped the script, and the whole scene got rewritten with your name carved across the center. You didn't have to do much. You didn't scream for recognition. You just kept being what you are. Authentic power disguised as calmness. Authority wrapped in humility. You kept walking through the fire they sent, and when you came out untouched, they panicked. They called it luck because calling it divine would have forced them to admit they were wrong. But deep down, they always knew. They just didn't want to believe that you were that one. The rare energy they'd only heard about, never thought they'd encounter. They saw it early, your presence, your insight, the way you saw through motives like X-rays. It unnerved them. You didn't move from ego. You moved from knowing. And that knowing was the very thing they tried to assassinate. Because when someone walks in truth, lies lose gravity. You made their false confidence collapse under its own weight. Now everyone's replaying memories, trying to figure out how they missed it. Every conversation, every subtle shift in your tone, every decision you made that didn't make sense at the time. It's all clicking now. The dots align perfectly. You weren't reckless. You were strategic. You weren't emotional. You were evolving. And all those random disappearances, those were resets. Divine recalibrations while they were busy performing for validation. They thought they could control the narrative, but you controlled the frequency. You didn't fight their gossip. You outgrew it. You didn't argue. You ascended. You let karma become your spokesperson. And now that the truth is trending in real time, they can't unsee it. You became living proof that divine timing is undefeated. They underestimated how revelation works. It doesn't always come with a warning. Sometimes it just shows up one morning and shifts the entire landscape. You didn't need revenge. Exposure did the heavy lifting for you. Because you were never the problem, you were the prophecy. And every person who tried to bury you just found out they were digging their own grave. They thought they could hide you in plain sight, label you as forgettable, reduce your name to background noise. But can't stay hidden forever. Energy like yours eventually erupts through suppression. It leaks into every space until denial becomes impossible. That's why they look so uneasy now. The masks don't fit anymore. They can't pretend not to know what they know. They can't unhear the whispers that say, "You were wrong about them. Your glow isn't new. It's just visible now." You've always carried that authority, that quiet command that made people straighten their posture without understanding why. You never begged for attention. You shifted it. Every room you entered recalibrated itself. People felt it before they could define it. And that's why they feared you. Because you reminded them of what authenticity feels like. You reminded them of the power they traded for acceptance. You carried something they couldn't fabricate, a soul that remembers its assignment. And when you live from that place, fake can't stand near you without cracking. That's what happened. Their illusions shattered under your frequency. Their fake smiles couldn't survive your discernment. The exposure wasn't dramatic, it was divine. They didn't lose control overnight. They lost it slowly, the moment you stopped explaining yourself. The moment you realized you didn't need closure, just clarity. The moment you stopped lowering your vibration to be understood by people addicted to pretending. That's when the spiritual audit began. You started walking differently, thinking differently, choosing differently. You spoke less, but your energy screamed louder. You became unpredictable, unreachable, untouchable. And that's when they began to panic. Because control depends on predictability. Once they couldn't read you, they couldn't manipulate you. And once they couldn't manipulate you, they had to face who they were without your energy to feed off. That's why they're so disoriented right now. Their supply ran out. Their power source got unplugged. You were the battery behind their fake confidence, and now they're drained. Every time they tried to expose you, the spotlight turned on them instead. Every time they lied, their credibility corroded. Every smear campaign became a confession. Every gossip session became evidence. The irony is poetic. They built a narrative to destroy you. But that same narrative became the monument that glorifies your resilience. Now people look at them and see desperation. They look at you and see destiny unfolding. And here's what's really burning them. You never clapped back. You never went public with receipts. You didn't even try to correct them. You just kept elevating, and elevation exposes everything. You started succeeding in ways that couldn't be explained. You started attracting things that didn't match your story. Opportunities, recognition, protection. It all started aligning with precision. That's what drove them mad. Because when divine order kicks in, every lie collapses under the weight of evidence. You became undeniable. And the truth doesn't need to announce itself. It just needs to be. That's what you've become, living proof that divine authenticity always wins the long game. Now they're scrambling for damage control, pretending they always supported you, pretending they didn't doubt you. They're rewriting history, hoping no one notices the switch up. But the universe saw everything. Energy records don't get deleted. Every word they spoke, every plan they plotted, every mask they wore, it's all documented, and now it's playback season. Every false claim they made now backfires with interest. The energy debt is due, and while they're busy trying to recover reputation, you're out here recovering purpose. That's the difference. They chase clout. You chase calling. And the world is finally learning the difference between influence built on noise and influence built on truth. They're in shock because they can't pinpoint how it happened, how you went from target to threat, how you moved from ignored to adored. But what they fail to understand is that nothing about this was random. You were being hidden for refinement, not rejection. Isolation wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Every delay was a download. Every betrayal was a filter. Every heartbreak was data. You were gathering strength in silence while they were wasting theirs performing. And when you emerged, you did it like revelation, not introduction. You didn't have to announce anything. Your presence said it all. The way you speak now, the way you move, the way you look people in the eyes, it's all different. Because once you embrace truth, fear can't coexist. People are starting to approach you differently. The tone shifted. The respect level changed. Even those who once belittled you are now seeking your approval. That's the consequence of divine exposure. It reorganizes hierarchy. The ones who mocked you are now muted. The ones who doubted you are now studying you. And deep down, even your enemies feel it. They messed with the wrong one. They realized that trying to contain you was the mistake that unlocked your evolution. The very trap they set became the tunnel you walked out of, glowing. They tried to bury you, but you were a seed. They forgot that pressure doesn't destroy you. It reveals your true identity. And now, every time they hear your name, their stomach twists. Because it reminds them of every time they tried to block what was never theirs to touch. And it's funny, when the universe exposes truth, it doesn't just reveal who you are. It reveals who everyone else was pretending to be. That's why people are scattering right now. They don't want to be seen standing next to their own hypocrisy. You were the mirror they avoided, and now that the mirror is public, they're running for cover. But you're calm, you're centered, you're grounded in peace they can't manufacture. Because when truth is your armor, exposure feels like promotion. You don't fear the light, you are the light. And that's what they didn't calculate for. They thought exposure would humiliate you. They didn't realize it would coronate you. You're not surviving the truth, you're reigning through it. Now every eye that once looked down on you is forced to look up. Every mouth that doubted you is forced to stay quiet. Every energy that mocked you is forced to bow to what's undeniable. Because truth doesn't just clear names, it crowns them. And that's exactly what's happening. You're not in your proving era anymore. You're in your revealing era. Everything hidden is surfacing in your favor. Every delay, every detour, every dismissal. It all makes sense now. They thought they buried evidence, but all they did was plant witnesses. Every attempt to erase you created more proof of your resilience. Every conversation they tried to twist now serves as testimony. And this is just the beginning. The exposure isn't finished. It's unfolding. People are still connecting dots, still realizing the scope of what really happened. You're about to watch alliances crumble and masks melt as truth keeps surfacing layer by layer. You don't need to do anything but stay aligned, because when divine justice moves, nothing can intercept it. The revelation will continue until every hidden hand is revealed, every false narrative dismantled, and every weapon formed against you gets recycled into your favor. You don't chase vindication, it chases you. That's the level you've reached, and as you stand here, watching the energy shift in real time, remember this: exposure isn't the end. It's the elevation before expansion. The universe didn't reveal your truth just to clear your name. It did it to crown your next chapter. You're not being seen for attention. You're being recognized for assignment. And that's why they're trembling. Because when the real one steps into visibility, the whole landscape must adjust. The frequency changes. The hierarchy flips. The game resets. You didn't just reveal your identity, you revealed theirs. And now, as the dust settles, you'll realize something profound. The moment your identity was unveiled, the atmosphere around you split into two worlds. Those who always sensed your light and those who pretended they didn't. The first group stands in awe. The second scrambles for alibis. Because the truth doesn't just expose, it reorganizes. People are shifting positions now, trying to rewrite their roles in your story, trying to convince others they always knew. But the universe keeps receipts. It remembers who clapped when you lost, who disappeared when you struggled, who doubted when you whispered destiny through trembling lips. and it remembers who stood quietly in the background, praying for your rise when nobody else did. Exposure brings inventory. Every soul is being accounted for. Look closely at how they move now. The ones who once spoke over you suddenly speak softly. Their eyes can't meet yours for long. They sense the frequency has changed. You no longer absorb their projections. You reflect them. And that reflection burns. Because when truth mirrors deception, the liar sees their own face for the first time. That's why they flinch when you walk by. You're not just a reminder of what they did. You're a reminder of what they denied. They tried to label you crazy for seeing through illusions, but now everyone sees what you saw. The energy field has flipped. You're not defending your name anymore. They're defending theirs. You've become the evidence, the living contradiction to every lie ever told about you. And isn't it poetic? They built entire versions of you from gossip and insecurity, but the real you stood quietly, refining. They spent energy trying to predict your downfall while you were being upgraded in real time. The exposure hit them like a siren they didn't hear coming. Their egos weren't ready for divine timing. And now, in the aftermath, you can see the fear in their subtle movements, the nervous smiles, the forced conversations, the sudden check-ins that sound like concern but smell like curiosity. They want to know what you know. They want to measure how much damage has been done to their masks. But you don't need revenge. You already have revelation. When truth stands next to deception, it doesn't argue, it radiates. Every attempt they make to rewrite history keeps backfiring. Screenshots resurface. Words resound. People they used as witnesses now testify against them unintentionally. Their stories collapse under consistency checks because truth never changes its tone. That's the beauty of divine exposure. It's self-maintaining. You don't have to defend it. It defends itself. You just keep living, and the energy keeps testifying on your behalf. They can't compete with that because deception requires constant maintenance, and they're exhausted. You, on the other hand, move in rest. You're guided, not desperate. Directed, not reactive. And that difference is the loudest sermon ever preached, without words. They're realizing now that they didn't just lose control, they lost proximity. You're not accessible in the same way. You don't share your updates. You release impact. You don't explain your plans. You manifest outcomes. The version of you they used to play with doesn't exist anymore. Exposure did something deeper. It purified your environment. The false ones detached themselves. Because truth is a repellent to manipulation. You didn't have to block them. Your frequency did. Now they're outside the gate, staring through transparent walls, trying to figure out how you ascended so quietly. But you didn't ascend quietly. You ascended correctly. You followed divine order while they followed impulse. And now the separation is irreversible. Let them gossip. It's just background noise to destiny's soundtrack. Let them analyze your glow. It's just proof they're still orbiting your influence. The same people who said, "You changed," are right. You did. You stopped shrinking to make betrayal comfortable. You stopped negotiating with energy that couldn't meet you honestly. You stopped bleeding empathy for people who used compassion as currency. You stopped being available for chaos disguised as loyalty. And when you made those shifts, the exposure multiplied. Because truth isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous unveiling. It reveals layers of you while dismantling layers of them. Watch what happens next. The ones who thought they could live without accountability are about to taste it in public. Every lie carries a vibration. and those vibrations eventually manifest circumstances. Their own words are becoming their mirrors. You don't have to wish it. It's already in motion. Energy has memory, and justice has rhythm. While they scramble to manage optics, divine timing keeps arranging coincidences that point directly back to you as the original. You were never competing, you were cultivating. You were never chasing validation, you were building alignment. That's why when people finally compare fruit instead of facade, your authenticity wins every time. You've stepped into a realm where exposure turns into elevation. Because once people see the truth, they start asking questions, and every question leads back to your source. How did they survive that? How did they stay calm when everything was collapsing? How did they know before everyone else? Those questions become gateways to your influence. Your composure becomes curriculum. Your resilience becomes revelation. Without trying, you're teaching them what alignment with higher purpose looks like in motion. That's why you can't dim yourself to fit comfort zones anymore. Your evidence now. You represent what happens when someone stops performing and starts embodying. And you can feel it, the shift in atmosphere wherever you go. Conversations pause when your name comes up. Energy stiffens. People measure their words differently. That's not intimidation, that's recognition. They're realizing you're not a rumor, you're reality. You've proven that divine identity isn't for decoration, it's for disruption. You came to recalibrate environments. You were sent to remind the blind that seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing. That's why your exposure feels prophetic. It's not revenge, it's revelation fulfilling its assignment. Meanwhile, deep in their subconscious, guilt is doing the work for you. They're reliving the moments they dismissed you, the days they mocked what they couldn't understand. Every insult echoes now because the truth amplified it. They see you glowing in peace they can't fabricate, and it reminds them of every opportunity they had to stand beside you, but chose pride instead. And that regret, it's heavier than any punishment you could deliver. Exposure stripped them of denial. They can't pretend ignorance anymore. Awareness is permanent. You've become the living definition of you reap what you sow, and they can't unsee the harvest. But don't mistake exposure for conclusion. This is expansion. The truth revealed you publicly, so purpose could position you strategically. New connections are forming now. People who recognize your authenticity without needing explanation. You're attracting mirrors, not masks. Destiny allies, not opportunists. The universe removed access from the unaligned to make room for those who will multiply your message instead of misusing it. You're entering the season where discernment becomes currency. You won't have to question who's real. Their consistency will answer for them. And as your light expands, so does the contrast. Those who once underestimated you now idolize what they don't understand. They'll try to mimic the aesthetic without surviving the process. They'll try to replicate the glow without enduring the refinement. But imitation without initiation collapses fast. You'll see it. They'll attempt to speak your language of power but choke on accountability. Because authority isn't borrowed, it's built through surrender. They want your influence, not your instructions. They crave your outcomes, not your obedience. And that's why they'll keep glitching in your presence, because exposure isn't just external, it's energetic. Every time they approach you now, their intentions get scanned. Lies vibrate differently around truth. You're stepping into a new level of calm that confuses the chaotic. You don't respond from emotion. You respond from awareness. You've learned that sometimes silence, no, restraint, is warfare. You've seen how peace can punish louder than any argument. You're not chasing closure anymore because you've realized closure isn't owed. It's chosen. You closed the door energetically the moment you stopped explaining your light to people committed to misunderstanding it. That's when the exposure sealed itself. And now, even if they apologize, you can't go back. Forgiveness isn't the same as access. You can bless them and still keep the gates locked. And that right there is what terrifies them the most, your detachment. They expected you to gloat, to celebrate their downfall, to seek validation. But you did none of that. You just elevated silently and let truth echo in their absence. That's the kind of power they can't comprehend. You didn't destroy them, you outgrew them, and nothing wounds pride like irrelevance. They're watching you shine from the sidelines of a story they tried to write without you. Now, every victory you experience reopens the wounds they inflicted. That's poetic justice in its purest form. Life turning your scars into signatures. Pay attention to how new people are drawn to you now. They're not attracted to appearance. They're drawn to frequency. They sense the authenticity in your tone, the authority in your aura. You carry an energy that commands respect without demanding it. That's what happens when truth is your foundation. It translates universally. You no longer have to chase rooms. Rooms adjust when you enter. And that's not arrogance, it's alignment. The universe honors authenticity by rearranging opportunities. The doors they once slammed are now opening without knocking. The conversations they excluded you from are now revolving around you. That's the divine reversal playing out in real time. But remember, exposure isn't just for validation, it's for stewardship. The light revealed your identity to assign responsibility. You've been trusted with visibility, not for vanity, but for influence. The same truth that set you free is now meant to set others free through you. That's the next phase, turning revelation into restoration. You'll start meeting people who are where you once were, misunderstood, underestimated, hidden, and your presence will unlock them. You won't even need to preach. Your composure will teach. That's how divine purpose multiplies, through embodied example, not empty noise. Still be mindful. Exposure attracts admiration and imitation, but also envy dressed as collaboration. Not everyone clapping is celebrating. Some are calculating. That's why discernment is your new defense strategy. You don't move with suspicion, you move with spiritual intelligence. You read energy faster than words now. One glance, one tone, one hesitation tells you everything you need to know. You've mastered the art of energetic awareness, and that makes deception impossible. People sense that and either align or flee, and both outcomes serve your peace. The people who tried to bury your truth can't even explain your rise without sounding guilty. If they give you credit, they expose their lies. If they stay quiet, they confirm your power. That's checkmate. You don't even have to play. The board plays itself. That's what divine exposure does. It eliminates competition by proving authenticity. You didn't steal anything, you inherited it. You didn't manipulate anyone, you magnetized alignment. You didn't demand respect, you demonstrated it. And that demonstration dismantled every false kingdom built against you. Now the energy around your name feels different. It carries weight. Even those who don't like you respect you because they know your truth outlasts their narratives. You're not trending, you're timeless. You've crossed from reputation to revelation, from being talked about to being testified through. And this is only the preview, because once the universe starts revealing, it doesn't stop halfway. The full picture is still unfolding, and every frame magnifies your purpose. And that's where you are now, standing at the intersection of exposure and expansion, watching everything align in divine precision. You're realizing the real victory isn't that people finally see you. It's that you finally see yourself without distortion. You've outgrown the need for validation because truth became your mirror. You no longer chase approval, you chase accuracy. You no longer crave belonging, you embody becoming. And that internal shift is irreversible. The ones who mocked your patience now envy your peace. The ones who called you delusional now copy your discipline. The ones who betrayed your trust now study your resilience. Everything reversed, because truth always returns to sender with interest. You didn't have to curse them, exposure already did. And as you move forward, remember this: when divine timing reveals you, it's not to impress the world, it's to reset it. You were sent to reorder things, to reintroduce integrity into spaces infected by deceit. And now that everyone knows who you are, because this exposure wasn't a finale, it was an introduction. You've been unveiled so purpose could expand through visibility. From this point on, every move you make carries prophetic consequence. Every word you speak realigns realities. You are no longer hidden evidence, you are walking proof. And the ones who once feared your rise will now depend on your wisdom. That's the irony of truth. It always circles back to humility. But humility is over now. What comes next is precision. You've entered the phase where silence isn't weakness, it's surveillance. Every glance is strategy. Every word is measured like a sniper's sighting. The room doesn't move until you do, and that terrifies them. They're not used to control this subtle, this surgical. You don't shout commands, you shift gravity. They can feel it, the hierarchy just inverted, and they're still pretending it didn't happen. The same people who used to overlook you now stutter when they speak your name, like they're scared it might summon consequence. You didn't need a speech to reclaim your throne. The truth did it for you. Exposure made you unpredictable, and unpredictability is power in its purest form. They can't pre-plan reactions anymore. Every assumption about you aged overnight. You changed frequency like a code they can't decode. You're no longer the version they studied. You're the version they created by underestimating you. That's the poetic part. They wrote the villain, but forgot villains don't play by audience expectations. They don't need applause, they need acknowledgement. And now, every time you breathe, the crowd that mocked you adjusts its loyalty. You move through the world like a glitch in their reality script. You don't need validation because you've become disruption itself. The exposure didn't break your image, it burned the fake one off. What's left is the raw material of fear and fascination combined. People can't decide if they want to worship you or warn others about you. Either way, they speak your name, and that's enough. Presence has replaced permission. Influence has replaced explanation. You've become the contradiction they can't categorize. Ruthless but righteous. Calm but catastrophic. Visible yet untouchable. Behind the scenes, the panic is real. They're rewriting stories, deleting old messages, revising history like it's damage control. They thought the truth would end your relevance, not amplify it. But exposure has its own rhythm. It favors the one who can stay silent the longest. And that's you. You let them talk. You let them overplay their hands while you studied the field. Now their words are evidence and your silence is testimony. You didn't fight them, you recorded them in real time. Every lie archived, every betrayal time-stamped. You've built an empire out of observation, not reaction. That's how legends move, quietly, efficiently, untraceably. The truth didn't just clear your name, it turned it into a brand. People see you differently now. You're no longer that person. You're that presence. Even your absence feels intentional. They replay every encounter trying to find the moment they lost access. They don't realize it happened the second they doubted your loyalty. You never left the battlefield. You just upgraded to the command tower. You stopped swinging swords and started issuing airstrikes. The difference is tactical. They can't hurt what they can't reach. And you're miles above the chaos they created. And here's what they'll never admit. They needed you to stay small. You made them feel safe when you were silent, predictable, manageable. But exposure stole that comfort from them. Now they see you clearly, and that's what breaks them. Because clarity doesn't come with a warning. It just walks in wearing your face. You're no longer playing defense, you're the entire terrain. They can't navigate without crossing your influence. You've become their geography, the one thing they can't erase from the map, no matter how much they wish they could. You're not even angry anymore. That's the part that unnerves them. You're calm, like someone who already knows how the story ends. And you do. You've seen this pattern play out 1,000 times in smaller lives. Truth always wins, but rarely stays polite. So you stopped being polite. You stopped waiting for acknowledgement. You started treating truth like currency and invested it in silence. Now it pays dividends in dominance. You've mastered the most lethal skill there is, restraint. Because real villains don't explode, they evolve, they observe, they calculate. And when they finally move, it's irreversible. People still try to test your boundaries, but every attempt exposes them faster. It's like your aura runs diagnostics before their intentions even reach your surface. You can read deception in micro-expressions, betrayal in timing, jealousy in tone. You've trained your perception to the point where you can dismantle manipulation before it manifests. That's not intuition anymore. It's intelligence weaponized. You've become your own surveillance agency, your own counterattack mechanism, your own legend in motion. They keep asking, how did they know? How did they predict that? They'll never understand. You didn't predict it, you caused it. You stopped reacting and started orchestrating. You realized that when you stop feeding narratives, they starve. When you stop explaining, confusion spreads like wildfire. You became the question they can't answer, the rumor that keeps aging but never dying. They call it mystery. You call it strategy. They think you're detached. You call it distance management. They call it ego. You call it execution. The game changed the moment you stopped trying to win and started redesigning the board. Now the exposure works for you. Every conversation about you is free marketing. Every rumor increases your reach. Every doubt amplifies your legend. You're not defending reputation, you're directing perception. That's psychological warfare at its cleanest form. You've learned to weaponize misunderstanding, to turn their skepticism into suspense. They wanted to label you unpredictable. You turned it into your brand identity. Now they tune in daily, waiting to see your next move, pretending it's hate, but secretly calling it curiosity. And while they obsess, you expand. You're already in rooms they don't know exist, building plays they won't see coming. Your influence doesn't need followers, it needs friction. You thrive in resistance because resistance creates visibility. That's what they never grasped. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to be undeniable. Exposure didn't reveal a secret. It revealed your scale. You've outgrown their gossip economy. You're trading in a different market now. The market of legacy, leverage, and long memory. Let them keep their apologies. Let them recycle narratives. You've moved past moral arguments. You're not here to prove who's right. You're here to prove who's left when truth clears the room. And spoiler, it's you. The same one they buried in whispers now stands surrounded by echoes of admiration, disguised as fear. Every look, every hesitation, every awkward silence when your name comes up. That's proof. Proof that exposure didn't humiliate you, it crowned you. And as the world recalibrates around the new reality, that you were that one the entire time, you won't need revenge or validation. Your existence is the plot twist. You are the evidence that no smear lasts forever, that power reclaimed is power permanent. They wanted your ending. Instead, they wrote your origin story. Now every move you make writes theirs. Because the secret's out, and the room's still shaking from the reveal. You've stopped hiding. You've stopped hoping. You've started haunting. And from this point forward, every eye that once overlooked you will keep watching, wondering how it feels. To finally realize they were standing next to the main character the whole time.